Alrighty, so for this tutorial, it's going to be in two parts. First, we're going to talk about UI, which is actually something that should be done in your GDW course, but we need it for today. And then we're also going to be talking about timers, which is our code topic. So first, we're going to talk about UI. Now, UI in Unity is pretty straightforward, and it's one of the nice things that Unity has to offer. In your hierarchy, we can start by right-clicking and creating a UI, and you're going to need a canvas and an event system, but for now, it'll automatically create those. So we're going to create an image, and this first image is going to be called health bar background. I'm going to create, actually first, let's talk about this. If I zoom out, you can see that we now have this massive window here, and you're probably thinking, but that's strange, I have this window here. And when I press play, I can't even see the square for some reason. Oh wait, I'm zoomed in. There you go. There's a square. It's in the corner. It's tiny, but it looks huge here. What happened? That's because your canvas is in overlay mode, and this is actually good. It just means that this whole space here is where your canvas is, and this is always stuck to your camera regardless of your camera, regardless of where it is. So this is actually good. Now the render modes, this is something you need to keep in mind of. Overlay, camera, and world space. Play around with them. Overlay is default. It's what you'd expect with most UI. It just follows you. World space is generally used for stuff like VR games, if you want to connect UI to like your hands or something. And camera is for like specific things if you want to do with a camera or if you have shaders. Next is the canvas scaler. For your canvas scaler, let's change it to scale with screen size. And let's change the dimensions to be 1920 by 1080. And this is going to reduce the amount of stretching in your games. If your game is a vertical screen, then do it like this. If it's horizontal, keep it like this. Okay? And then finally, your graphic raycaster. If you are able to, you should remove this. However, you should not if your canvas will be receiving input. Now, in this case, it's an entirely blank project for the case of a demonstration. So my canvas will be receiving input, and I should leave this on. But if you're able to remove it, you should. So if you're going to be able to receive input from elsewhere, you should remove it. Great. So now, let's move this over to like the center or something. Let's change the X so it's dead centered. And then let's increase the width. If you hover over the word width, you can drag it out. And then you can make it smaller. And then these images here, I found them on the internet. One of them I created. It's literally just a 1x1 pixel. And we can use them to create a simple Minecraft-esque health bar. So I'm going to drag and drop the source image for our hearts, and we get this. Now, before we continue, we need to click on our heart image. We need to change the sprite mode. First, make sure that you're on sprite, text, so 2D and UI. Then, it's a single sprite, so change it to single. The pixels per unit is fine. The alpha is transparent, so that way we don't have white borders. And then the wrap mode needs to be on repeat. Doing all of this will allow you to change it to tiled and increase the pixels per unit. So that way you get 10 hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hearts. Just like that. Excellent. A little too tall on the top there. You can kind of see one of the old hearts poking through. There you go. And perfect. Okay, great. So now, what we want to do is we have this red heart, and we want the red heart to go across it. So if I right-click or I can just duplicate this, Control-D to duplicate, drag and drop it onto itself, and let's name this hearts. And then I put the other image on, and I change it to filled, or tiled, sorry, and I stretch it out. Well, then you can see, there it is. Except there's an issue. How am I supposed to lose health? So what we can do is we can right-click on hearts, create an empty parent. Then we can change the fill mode, the anchor over here, to be full. So it's going to take up its entire bounds and make everything 0. So it's taking up the entire boundaries. Then I'm going to add an image to it, and I'm going to add a mask. Then I'm going to turn off show mask graphic, so it goes away. Okay, now here's the deal. If you decrease the right here, for example, you can see that the things will fade away. But then there's another issue. in that you can see that as I'm changing it, everything is moving. So we don't want to be able to change the left and right. Instead, what we can do is drag this one pixel, it's literally just one white pixel, drag it on, and then we can modify it by changing it from simple to filled. And now we get this settings, these settings, change it to horizontal from the left side, and check this out. There we go. So for the fill amount, if you want it to be exactly like Minecraft, then all you need to know is some simple division. So you have 20 hearts, right? And then if you did 20 divided by, let's say you want half health, 20 divided by 2, 0.5, then you should get 5 hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes perfect sense. 45 for half, 4.5 hearts, 40 for 4 hearts, so on and so forth. Really easy. And there you go, Minecraft style health bar. Great. Okay, we're going to come back to this for how we do the code, but before we continue, we need to add another thing. Let's say you want like a circular UI element. So on our canvas, we're going to right-click a UI, we're going to make an image. Now, the knob is the default circle in Unity, and it's absolute garbage. But hold on, let me also just do this so you can see what this will look like. This is the game view. So I just dragged the game view over. And then over here on the right side, I recommend you change it from free aspect, which is what it is by default, to full HD, because free aspect is actually terrible. Let's actually, yeah, that's fine. Let's move the anchoring on this one, so it's anchored to the top left of our screen. And then let's pull it to the side, let's pull it down, just like this. And let's change it to be a knob. You can see it looks okay, looks like a circle, but you'll see soon it's gonna like break a little bit because the knob sucks. Then we're gonna right click on it again, we're gonna create another, we're gonna create a button. Okay, when you create your button, it's gonna ask you to import TextMesh Pro, allow it to import TextMesh Pro. I am going to delete the text that's actually inside of this right now, and I'm just gonna have a button, which you can see is just an image component and a button component, nothing more. Then I'm going to change the anchoring so that way it's full size. It'll take up the entire size of our knob. Now there's an issue. You can see that it is now invisible, right? We can no longer see our knob. So the solution is once more a mask. But in order to actually make a good mask for this one, we need to actually create another knob. So this is going to be the background, or let's say it's the take damage background. Whoops. This one is going to be the button, damage button. And then we need a mask. So I'm going to duplicate the background, delete the button, drag and drop it in, just like this. This is going to be the mask. Change the anchoring to be the full screen, full area. And there we go. And then all I need to do is let's add a mask. And then let's turn off show graphic, which we don't need. In fact, yeah, just turn off show graphic. And then you can kind of see now why I'm saying that knobs are garbage. You probably want to use a high resolution image. You can see that it's 40 by 40 and it doesn't even take up the full bounds. I don't know why Unity did it like that. Yeah, you probably want to use an image that's 256 by 256 if you want a high quality circle here. Anyways, so on this, we can now change the background color to be black, which you'll see will have no effect. So what we need to do is on the mask element, we need to shrink our mask. So we're going to shrink our mask by 8 pixels in every direction. And now we'll have that border. Very cool. Finally, let us make our button so that way it's like a different color. The normal color here, let's do like orange or something. And then when it's disabled, it'll be like gray. And let's do one more thing for the sake of experimenting. We're going to right click on our mask and we're going to create a UI image. And it's going to be the, I don't know, disabled UI. It'll just be a simple cover. Drag and drop the 1 pixel image back onto it and change it to be filled. Radial 360 from the bottom. And you'll see that we can now do this effect, where it'll slowly come back, just like this. okay? So I'm actually going to go back here and I want to change it. I want to change this normal color back to white, and I want to change this color to like red. So that way when it's enabled, it's red, and when it's disabled, it's like a dark red. Okay, because we are going to want to disable it. Then on the button, I'm going to disable raycast target, because it doesn't actually matter. And then I'm going to give it like a deeper color. First, let's make it semi-visible. Let's reduce the alpha, so you can still see the button behind it. Okay, just something like this. So it's going to look exactly like that. And we could even have a timer on it if we wanted to say the exact number. Very simple UI, very easy to customize. And again, this is working with a mask. So if you only want like the outside of the ring to work, think about how you can use a mask to make it so that way it's only like the outer ring is affected by this bit. It's really easy to do. So continuing, we have our two UI elements. There's one more thing that we need. We're going to right click create a UI, Text Mesh Pro, and we're going to put it in the center. So it's right now perfectly in the center of the screen. Change the alignment so it's centered fully. And then let's make this big. We can make the width and height bigger so that way it fits properly. And we're just going to say you died. That's it. You can make the text red or whatever. You can change the font. Really easy to do. Yeah. That's it. So that's it for the UI section. Really, really easy stuff. And it's super easy to add more stuff. You just got to be creative and mess around with it. Hopefully in GDW you learn more about how to make easy UI, because it's not really something that we should be doing together. We're moving on now into the code part, so that's going to be in a different video.